Thanks, Al.
Carl Edwards has joined us. Carl is driving, as we see, the number 99 Subway Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. And Subway, the good folks at Subway are sponsoring tomorrow night's race. And I'm told we'll sponsor our luncheon here tomorrow in the media center. So
he's pushing for that.
Carl, coming to Daytona about midway through the season. And let's talk about your outlook, and what you want to try to do here over the next few weeks.
I thought about it a lot this week. I get the chance to talk to Jenna, and we talked a little bit the other day, and I tried to relate to her that this is a race that we have had, statistically we've run really well here. It's just that we have to go be aggressive, and this is a tough place to decide how aggressive to be, because it as easily as you can go have a top 5 finish and have a great night, you can be backwards in the grass, frustrated. So this race is one I think that's if it goes well, it could be very good. If it goes bad, it's going to be tough. So we've got to be very smart. We've got to minimize our mistakes. And I think you guys saw how frustrated I was and how frustrated our whole team was after last week, and and the week before, running about 20th the last 2 weeks from little mistakes that are not really the norm for us. So we've got to do better than that. We know that. We've rallied together this week, and really this to run well here at this race, as exciting as it is, to have Subway on board with the avocado paint scheme. They're really excited about it. It's a big Subway weekend. We've got Jared, the Subway guy. Major Gadsden's going to be here tomorrow. He's the Grand Marshal of the Jalapeno 250. So this, if we can just cap it off with a good run Saturday night, this will be a fun weekend.
And I like those Subway commercials that you're in with the other athletes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, we had a good time. Have you guys met Jay Glazer? Has he come in and done any media stuff with you guys? He's unbelievable. The guy's he's unreal. So we have a good time.
Okay, we'll take questions now for Carl. I think I saw a hand up over here.
Glazer, you've never been around him? That dude's got the energy of like 50 people, and he's awesome. I don't know. He's an NFL insider, so he works with, getting the scoop.
Yeah, Mike.
And he's ex-MMA fighter, just insane, like this ball of energy. It's off the chart.
He needs to come cover NASCAR.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. Over to your left, Carl.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I won't say it. Yeah, go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, sorry.
Mike
Just
Henry.
rambling.
Okay. MikeHenrySpeed.com. You mentioned rallying the troops. Do you have a meeting, mass meeting to talk about all this, or how do you change direction, and do you make it pointed that, hey guys, this has to happen, or what?
Yeah, we had a kind of a hastily organized meeting after the race the other night, and basically it boils down to this: our luck has been so bad this year that we can't make any other mistakes. If we have to go forward assuming that the things that could go wrong are going to go wrong, so we need to go out and minimize the mistakes around the things that we can control. It's like my dad told me at the beginning of my career, something broke on the car one night. He said, listen, there's 1,000 things that have to go right in a race car. Any one of them, or during a race, and any one of those things goes wrong, and your race is over. So the very least you can do is control the ones you can control, and make them not make mistakes in those areas. And that's what we have to do right now. We all understand that. Bob and I have talked about it. We have to go the extra mile to make sure all of our bases are covered, because there's just no room for any more error for the next 9 races. We've got to be on it. I mean, this to us it's almost as if we're going to race for the championship for the next 9 races. We've got to think that way, and remember and respect the fact that we're not granted it. We're not in that chase right now. I mean, we're outside of it. We got to go get it.
All right, let's go Mark Dakotas, Jenna, and David Caravello.
Carl, Mark Dakotas from Motorsports Unplugged. Are you aware of Bruton Smith's proposals on mandatory cautions and TV timeouts and halftime and everything to enliven the races? And if so, what's your reaction? Thank you.
I'm not aware of it. Could you describe it to me?
Well, he said that he's getting feedback, and he believes that the racing has become boring, and that NASCAR needs to throw mandatory cautions to get the field back together for restarts to make things more exciting. And also talked about possibilities of having halftime.
Right. Now, so I have to preface what I'm going to say with the disclaimer that I've never been a race promoter. I don't have any stake in any of the racetracks. I don't understand how ticket sales, are going and things like that. But from a competitive standpoint, to me, auto racing is auto racing. That's what it is. And it's not, it's not going to be, game 7 moment every race. That's what makes some races great. To me, if you start affecting the competition like that, I mean, that is analogous to stopping a basketball game if the score gets too far apart and putting the score back even. I mean, that to me is not what auto racing is about. And if you let these races play themselves out, play out naturally, and you let the racing be racing, sometimes there's some wild things that happen, and you just, things happen that are unexpected, and that's what makes that true, real drama that happens every once in a while. That's why it's so appreciated, I think, in our sport. And once you try to create those things, I think that it's my opinion, my humble opinion. I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but it's my opinion that takes something away from the sport. If a guy wins by 3 laps, well, he was meant to win by 3 laps, and you don't want to take that away from that guy and that team.
Let's go Jenna, David Caravello, and Mike Mulhern. I got you, Nate.
Jennifer, AP, I was going to ask you about Bruton's comments, but instead, I think back in Richmond when all this talk first started, that the fans are unhappy with the racing, or
right,
that the green flag runs, you were very, very outspoken and had very strong opinions. I'm wondering, I guess now 8 or so races later, what you think of the current state of racing.
I don't know. I think it's hard for me or any of the drivers, or maybe even you guys in here, to really have an honest, objective opinion of what's going on, because I mean, we're so deep in this thing, and we, it's really hard. So I guess at the end of the day, you have to ask the fans what they think, and if there are things that can be changed that don't directly change the results people get based on their level of performance, I think that you could change those things. If you wanted to shorten the races or you wanted to do something, but just throwing a caution because a race is, quote, boring to someone, or doing things like that, I think that's a dangerous road to go down, in my opinion. I think if they're good and they go out and win every race by a lap for a year, then, they ought to be held up for that and say, hey, that's great. And if it makes the race boring, a little bit more boring, we get a little less sponsorship dollars or a few less people in the seats, that's just the way it is. That's real competition. That's the way things can go sometimes. You can't fabricate competition. I don't think that's what's so great about sport. There's a whole other world out there, politics and the real world and all these things where everybody's changing the rules all the time to try to get an advantage. We might as well just leave sports alone and make the best man win.
Let's go to David. Let's go to Mike, Claire, Nate, Marty.
David Caravello, NASCAR.com. Carl, 2 quick ones. First of all, 34 points out of 10th. Do you feel like getting into the top 10 on points for you is still realistic at this point?
I think that's realistic. It's that window's closing, though. If we don't, we don't make up some ground here the next 3 or 4 weeks, it becomes a different story. So the best way we can do it is to obviously go win races. But you could make up. I think in the next 9 races we can make up 50 or 60 points, but that would be the best case. We know how to do that. We've had runs like that where we've just knocked off 5 or 6, 8 top 5s in a row, and we can do it. But we've got to step it up.
And the second one is you haven't won here, but you've got a really, really good track record here. And how much of that is just your natural affinity to this place? How much of that is Roush's restrictor plate strength? Where does all that come from?
Well, for years we came here, and this was a we just kind of grit our teeth and kind of work through this, slog through this weekend and try to get what we could, because we didn't really have the fastest cars. And then it seems like Jack and everyone at Roush Yates and Doug, everyone said, hey, let's really put some more effort into this. Let's be the best we can be. This is, it's 4 races a year. and it's paid off. We've got fast race cars. We've got better teamwork on the racetrack. I think we understand these races a little better, and it's been a lot of effort, and it cost Jack a lot of money and Ford, and I think it's paid off. But I don't think it has anything really to do with me. I think I've learned how not to crash as much here. That's helped me, but I think good teammates have helped me a lot too. If you look at the way Matt, Greg, Kurt, all those guys that I've raced with at Roush, the way they run at these tracks, it's pretty amazing. They do a really good job.
Let's go Claire, Mike Mulhern, Nate Ryan.
I'll repeat it if you want, Claire.
Supposed to be Mike first.
Oh, okay, my bad. Claire, Mike, Claire, Nate.
One observation on your thing about the yellow flags that Bruton was talking about. We've got the green, white, checkered. We've got the wave around. We've got the lucky dog. We've got the double file restarts, all of which are artificial to excite things. So that's just my observation, that we already do a number of things that are sort of like take away from it. But
I'm sorry, hold on. No, wait. List the things you said we do again.
The 3 green, white, checkers, that's
right.
Artificial. The wave around, which is artificial. The lucky dog, which is artificial, and the double file restarts, which is sort of
double file
artificial.
restarts isn't artificial. I mean, that's slight. And the wave around, it is. And you're right on that one. 3 green, white checkers, I think that's okay. I mean,
Oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with those things.
Green,
No. No, I'm not arguing about those things.
But the idea of a mandatory caution is completely different. That's the next dimension of. Wait, let's just start at the beginning. Let me just lay something out here for you guys. Is it everyone in this room? Is it your understanding that when they throw the green flag, right, that the only reason another flag is going to come out, like a yellow one or a red one, before that checkered flag comes out, if there's a condition on the racetrack that is unsafe to continue the race? Is that what everybody understands? That's the theory, right? Okay, so that tells me what I should do is I should do a couple things. I should prepare to run the whole race. I should prepare to run the whole race under green. I should plan my pit strategy to run, and I should only change it when I see something that happens on the racetrack, like a wreck, oil, debris, something like that. Those are the rules. That's the way I understand auto racing to work. That's the way it's worked at every dirt track I've ever raced at. That's the way it works. If we start getting away from that and we say, okay, halfway through the race, we're going to throw a caution, we're all going to line back up. Well, now it's 2 races, where the first race doesn't even matter. Now you just got a shorter race. I mean,
But wouldn't that just be like quarters in basketball? I mean, you could either play like soccer
no,
where the game starts.
No, it's not like quarters in basketball, because in basketball you don't have a bunch of people racing for a distance, and you don't have a lead that you've built up. The lead in basketball is a figurative one. It's a score. So it's as if you stop the quarter in basketball and then you even the score. In racing, I go out there and I gain an advantage. Maybe not this track, but at most tracks, I gain a big advantage. That caution erases that advantage. Now, if they want to start, I'll tell you one thing they could do. If NASCAR wants to move towards, or if auto racing wanted to move towards something that kept competition, real competition alive, you throw the caution, you take note of where everyone was on the racetrack, you line them up like that from a standing start, and you throw the green flag again. That way, if a guy's got a 100-yard lead, he starts with a 100-yard lead. Now, I know that's not as exciting maybe to some fans, but that rewards the guy who works hard.
Wait, so the standing start would be, so if it would not be based on where your running order, the actual distance that you are at the time of the caution?
Well, yeah, why not? I mean, if we're going to if we're going to change the sport, but see, that's from the driver's perspective. That's what I would like. I would like to be able to go out there and earn a lead, and then when there's a caution, for whatever the caution might be for, because we all in this room know that there's a lot of cautions for different things, well, hey, it's no big deal, because we'll pit, and when we start again, we'll start with that same lead. I just think when we start using cautions to make the race, quote, more exciting, I think that's going down a slippery slope. I don't think it's good for the sport. That's my opinion from where I sit. That doesn't mean it's right. That's just my opinion.
Let's go to Claire, Nate, Marty. Then we'll probably have to end. Claire, Nate, Marty. Go.
Claire Relang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. On another topic, last week, people were sort of saying for the first time maybe there was a little chink in your armor as far as being frustrated at the end of the race, obviously. When you and your crew chief get together, are you feeling that stress right now? Are you able to say the sense that it's been very, very difficult?
I thought it was important last week to just let that frustration out right then, because we're all so frustrated. I thought it was Number one, I thought it was more honest to get that car and say, hey, look, I'm mad. I'm not happy with this. And I think it actually worked out better in that case. I think that it had been building up for a couple of weeks in our whole team. And I think, Bob came over there. We were both upset. We're honest with each other about what we were upset at. I was honest with the crew chief, Jack, or with the engineers and Jack and everyone. I thought that was really important. So although it was not, a rosy interview or a great conversation or whatever, I thought we needed to do that. I think we needed to be really honest with one another. And I was glad it went the way it went.
Are you feeling extremely stressed right now?
No, I'm not feeling extremely stressed. I mean, I understand the difference between auto racing and real life. So, I mean, this is really, really fun for me to work on and be the best I can be. But at the end of the day, we're 11th and we're doing okay and we're good enough. We can go do this. And if we, for some reason, can't make it work, I will be as professionally frustrated as I can be. But I mean, I plan on being here for a long time and doing this for a long time and having lots of success. So this will just be one challenge.
2 more questions, Nate, and then finish with Marty.
Nate Ryan, USA. Carl, for a long time, Roush was fair to middling at the restrictor plate tracks like Daytona and Talladega. In the last 2 years, you guys have been world beaters almost. What changed? Did you guys put a lot more focus on it, or can you explain what the difference is?
Yeah, I think Doug Yates has helped a lot, and I think that Jack and everyone they treat these races differently. I may be remembering it wrong, but it seems to me that when we talked about restrictor plate races 5 or 6 years ago, I heard a lot. We'd come in after practice and say, man, this car is slow. So it'll draft fine. It'll be fine. Once the race starts, none of that matters. It was kind of like we blew off the, how much of a disadvantage we were giving up. I guess we kind of we didn't really take it seriously to the extent that maybe some of the other teams did. We didn't really focus on these races, and it seems like that there's been a very active exercise that's been going on, a very active effort to go out and be better at these tracks, even though there are only a few of them a year, and I think it's paid off. I mean, I think to see, if you look at those pictures of Jack and me and Greg sitting in victory lane after qualifying at Daytona, I mean, Jack was like in his element. I mean, it was pretty cool, and I think that we've turned the corner at these tracks, and I think it's really good. I think it's a smart thing to do.
Over to Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Carl, when you're really successful at this level, then you go through a drought, how does winning feel different once you break that drought as opposed to how it felt when you first started winning and were doing it consistently?
I think you appreciate it more. It's so fleeting, that success here. I mean, the end of last year, it felt like we could win every week, even though we weren't winning. I think it was a surprise to me to realize that we only won one points race last year at the end of the year. And lately, people have been bringing that up, that Vegas was our last win. That doesn't seem real because we were doing so well. And to have races like we've had the last few weeks, it reminds you there are no givens. You have to work that hard all the time. You have to be smart and be lucky. And I think that when we do break through and get that win, it's going to be really, really good. It's going to feel great. So you'll get the feeling I plan on feeling, the great feeling just winning, being successful that day, and then the huge relief of saying, all right, we've turned that corner. Now we can continue. I've unfortunately had that feeling a few times where we've gone through those droughts and then won a race. You're like, man, all right, that's what we needed to do. It's like medicine.
Carl, thanks for coming in, and good luck this weekend at Daytona.
Thanks, guys. Can't believe I went on that long without even seeing Bruton's quotes, so hopefully that's not too bad.